For many years, countries around the world have produced films that have changed the landscape of film itself. From the birth of cinema in France, to the rise of Hollywood, to Germany's pioneering horror films, individual countries have found ways to constantly reinvent film and have challenged the medium in new and unique ways. One country that stands out from all the rest is Italy, and today I want to focus on Italian cinema and what its body of work means for the rest of the world. Cinematic innovations often reflect the characteristics of the countries they come from. America was founded on capitalistic ideals. When Hollywood was born, one of its primary goals was to generate profit for major studios. Italy's, on the other hand, was founded to make art. Early Italian filmmakers such as Giovanni Pastrone made films that were adaptations of novels so that they could express how they saw the literary works in their head. One important adaptation from early Italian cinema is Dante's Inferno, directed by Francesco Bertolini. As with other works from this silent era in Italy, the film features lavish sets and costumes and joins the films of this era in being non-realist. Peter Bondinella, in his book A History of Italian Cinema, says that these films unlocked a sense of boundless space populated by large crowds and magnificent sets. This all came crashing down when World War I and eventually World War II broke out, and Mussolini came to power and the film industry in Italy took a turn. Mussolini initially supported the film industry and used it as a propaganda tool, but it was officially shut down in 1943 when German forces occupied the north of Italy. In 1945, Germany surrendered and World War II ended. After the end of World War II, Italy was left in shambles. From the rubble, a new generation of filmmakers emerged, such as Vittorio De Sica, whose films such as The Bicycle Thieves changed Italian cinema forever. These filmmakers launched the Italian neo-realism movement, which took over the country and is a clear example of post-war Europe beginning to navigate post-war trauma. Rome Open City, directed by Roberto Rossellini, shows a war-torn version of Rome and uses dilapidated streets and blown-out buildings as sets as its characters navigate through the environment. This resulted in what André Bazin calls pure cinema, which Bazin defines as no more actors, no more story, no more sets, which is to say that in the perfect aesthetic illusion of reality, there is no more cinema. And this aesthetic and elements of the cinematic movement can be found in many films from this era, such as Germany Year Zero, Umberto D, Il Posto, and countless others. The Italian neo-realism movement has influenced many filmmakers around the world. The French New Wave was heavily inspired by Italian neo-realism, as well as India's parallel cinema movement. You can see its effects on cinema in America as well, with films like Blue Valentine that use no sets, only real locations, and focuses on events that the filmmakers developed along the way instead of a planned out elaborate story. It was during the neo-realism movement that Italy experienced what is now considered the golden age of Italian cinema, which was defined by films like Divorce Italian Style, 8½, and La Dolce Vita, which used cinematography and sound to tell stories and convey themes rather than dialogue in a script. During this time, Italian film stars like Marcello Mastroianni, Claudia Cardinale, and Sophia Loren emerged, and as Giorgio Bertolini remarked in his book, The Cinema of Italy, the newfound reliance on emerging or established stars became a defining mark of Italy's art and commercial cinema of the 1950s and 1960s. After this period came Italy's own Hollywood of sorts, with filmmakers like Sergio Leone emerging and changing cinema forever with his westerns A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Once Upon a Time in the West. Leone's effect on cinema can be seen today as well in action films like The Magnificent Seven and The Hateful Eight, which pay homage to the way he directed and shot action scenes with wide-angle lenses and using 70mm film to copy the aesthetic of Leone's westerns. Since then, Italian cinema may not be as internationally recognized as it once was, but its influence can still be felt in films all over the world. Without Italian cinema, the world would not only be deprived of some of the medium's greatest works, but would be deprived of what makes the medium so great. The ability to make art and put it on screen, the ability to move people and tell singular stories that tell the story of an entire nation, come from Italy. Italy, simply put, changed film forever.